Okay, let's welcome back Coach Cody Gardner. He's the defense coordinator at Corning Ken High School, all the way out there in Utah with the snow and the mountains and everything else. Coach,
Snow
welcome
is,
back.
yeah, thanks, man. Snow is still on the mountains.
Is it?
Yeah, the very, very peaks still have snow. It's 4th of July, and you're like watching Gary wait for fireworks, and there's still snow on the peaks in the background, which is pretty crazy.
Well, that's what
Um,
you said you were starting camp. I was like, oh, that's pretty early. I didn't think about the snow and the weather where you have to.
yeah, yeah, we play 10 weeks, right? So we play an extra week. So like we have it's kind of like it's an endowment game. So like the gate goes to like the state a little bit or whatever. So you don't have to play it,
Okay.
right? But it's nice to get a game out under your belt. It's nice, right? So it's kind of like almost like some people treat it like a week zero, right? So we played 9 weeks and a week zero, 10 weeks, whatever
Uh,
it is. And then also, yeah, and so we play an extra week plus like it gets cold. It gets cold here. And so it's we start crazy soon. Our first opening day is like July 24th. That's when we go to fall camp. Which in some cases, we start, I think we're a week before you guys, right? We're a week before most, but like some states we're like 2 weeks ahead. So
yeah.
like I think next year we go to play a team in Arizona. We play them. It's like week 3 for us. It's week 1 for them.
Yeah. We start August 7th. August 7th is our first day.
Yeah, yeah. So we're just like a week ahead because that's that extra because we kind of hit the playoffs at the same time because like
Uh,
our state finals are like the week of Thanksgiving as well, right? So like
okay.
it kind of levels back out. What I'll say is our we don't there's not as dirty secret. Um, there's only like 110 high school football teams in all of Utah. So
Gee.
like whereas you look and they all get in for the most part, right? They all get in. Whereas like in Illinois, you guys have like 800,
Mhm.
right? And the 256 teams make the playoffs, right? So um, that's where that extra week we can afford to because like our playoffs just don't take us long,
Right.
right? And so that was why I joked like my first year at Park City. I think we were like there's only 14 teams in our division. I'm like, well, I guess we're top 20 in the state if we just show up, right? Because like
Right.
coming from like Illinois and Missouri, if you finish top 20 in your classification, you're a really good football team.
Yeah.
And we were 14th if we got and we went over. So it's kind of the goal is like we got to finish top 10 in the state. And it wasn't like that was a crazy goal. It was fifth from last, right? Like,
Right.
right. But like, so it's a little unique in that way. Now, what's really crazy is like Rochester. Rochester's like a 4A, 5A tweener, right? And they have like what
Right.
around 800, 900 students. Okay. So like my buddy's 3A school out here in Utah, they're that size. They're 3A, right? And so there's 8-man, which is kind of the 1A. There's 2A, 3A, 4A. So we're 6A because we class up,
Uh-huh.
but we have 2,100 students. So we would be considered a 5A school, but we
Okay.
classify up. So we petition up. We'll see schools like the team that couple like the enrollments of the teams that played in the finals last year, the semifinals with us. I think it was like 2,400, 2,700, and then like 2,900 or maybe 3,200. So like this one of the schools that played had like I think they have like 800 kids a class,
Wow.
right? And so that's when people are like our top end teams are really good because they're also massive schools.
Right.
That's why there's only 110 because the
Okay.
school size is huge. A small school in Utah is, like I said, a 3A, 2A school, still 800, 900 kids.
Right.
So that it's a little misleading at times, right? When you're like,
Yeah.
oh, 5A versus 5A. Like, well, that's a 1,200, 1,200 kid 5A in Illinois, and we're at 2,000. We're
Right.
considerably larger. So,
Yeah.
but that's like sometimes why we see like a higher density of like D1 talent, right? It's not that we're producing more, right? So if you imagine if you just took like a third of like a third of the kids that are college football players and you just put them on other teams in like Illinois. So if you went from like 800 schools to 550 schools, but you still have the same amount of kids,
Right.
then all of a sudden you start seeing that per capita of D1 kids would go up
Right.
because there's less teams, but the same amount of dudes, right? And so I think it's part of why like Utah football is really good is because Like I said, I've got 2,100 kids. I got 1,000 boys to find, you know, dudes in. So it's a little different. So it's one of the things that, like, when I came out here, I knew nothing about Utah when I moved out here.
Yeah.
I really, other than like they didn't have humidity. So, and that was about all. That was the swing vote for my wife. It was like, once we got past like no Iowa, no Oklahoma, none of that stuff, right? Like she was like, we're not going to like more tornadoes. We're not doing that.
Mhm.
So she was like, all right, no humidity. So like we're like between, essentially became between like North Carolina and Utah. And so we went dry over
Yeah.
the humidity.
Yeah.
So
No, I hate humidity. Don't worry. Illinois is in full effect of humidity right now. Today's
yeah,
nice. It's like it was 64 this morning. I was like, this is beautiful.
yeah. I mean, our first 6 years in Park City, we didn't have air conditioning.
Really?
Yeah,
You didn't have to?
didn't have to because it's a high desert, right? So at night it gets cool still. You'd have
Uh,
maybe three or 4 days a year that got into the 90s.
uh,
That's it. Most times it's 84, 82. The sun goes down at 10 o'clock. Like it's sunny all year. It's gorgeous, right? Like we've watched, 4th of July fireworks in hoodies because it got down to 49 at night. It was 82 during the day and 50 overnight. So it's 50 degrees you watch. It's cold, right?
yeah.
So yeah. So like we didn't have air conditioning until we moved last year, about a year ago. We moved down here for the new job.
Hmm.
Um, and like even it's funny, like old habits die hard. So like in our neighborhood, everyone's got their AC on and our windows are still open. Like 'cause we're just used to, it's just one of those things like, oh yeah, we can turn the AC on.
Yeah.
Um, which is kind of, hilarious that like just spent 6 years without it. Like we had a
Right.
little portable one we would kick on for the dogs.
Uh,
We had that big Great Dane for a while. And she would get a little warm. She was older. She was a 10-year-old Great Dane.
uh-huh.
She didn't like some of that heat stuff. So we'd kick that on, but realistically, he didn't really need it. He didn't need it.
You're speaking my
Uh,
language right now because I don't like to be
oh,
hot.
oh yeah. And in Park City, I mean, granted, you get 8 months of winter, right? But
Uh-huh.
you're over 7,000 feet.
Okay. Yeah.
So it gets cold. It's not like that's the difference between like let's say a Park City and like a Vale or Aspen. Like
Hmm.
Aspen, I think it's like 10,000 feet. It gets cold. So
Hmm.
we don't get the heat, but we also don't get like the 10 belows because you're only at 7,000. And it's a pretty cool place to live. Expensive as all get out, but it's a really cool place. Down here, we get hundreds. We get 98, 99, but
Uh-huh.
it's 98. It's 98 with 30% humidity.
Yeah.
It's not, hey, we got to practice at 6 a.m. because it's so hot, people will die,
Right.
right? It's, hey, we'll practice at 7, 8, get off the field before it gets cooking. Plus, like something I never thought about, right? Um, we live in almost the farthest western point of the mountain time zone. So it doesn't get hot at 3, it gets hot at 4,
Uh-huh.
right? So and that's why it gets dark almost at 10 because we're almost to be in the other time zone.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
like it's just different. Like having grown up in Central Illinois, like
Yeah.
hottest part of the day is 3 o'clock, sun goes down at this time. Like then we're here on the other end. It's like, oh, it gets hotter as practice starts. And not as opposed to when you start practicing the hottest and it cools off.
Right.
So like even like if you go at 9 or 10, you're off the field by noon, it's still 4 hours from the hottest part of the day. So it's just different, just
Yeah.
strange, different.
Complete opposite of here. It's the complete opposite.
Well, and I was in Missouri those 2 years, dude.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
It was just, it was like hot. I was joking around. It was hot enough to make you cuss. Like you come out the door and the first thing you say is you just drop an F bomb
Yeah.
because it's like somewhat a brick of humidity just smashes you in the face.
Yep.
And like where I worked for the school district in Missouri, it was a converted church, right? So like the parking lot was this giant, giant flat parking lot on top of a hill, and it was blacktop.
Uh-huh.
So you go to walk out to your car, and it was a brick front. So it
Yeah.
was like being in like the inside of an oven right there. Oh
Yeah.
my God, man. I'd walk out of work and just, oh, it was just awful. And so like when Kelly was like, no humidity, I'm like, might be onto something.
Yeah.
That
That's
might
pretty
not
smart.
suck. Now yeah, I had to carry chapstick because it was just dry. Like you don't even know you're sweating practice because it just evaporates.
Right.
So you forget to drink water and
Uh-huh.
stuff. You're like, why am I so dry? Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
even drink water because I'm not swimming in my own sweat and humidity in practice.
Yeah.
Um, so it's pretty unique, man. As a boy from Central Illinois, it's definitely different out here. That's for sure.
because I'm the one that complained when it's hot and I'm sweating and I'm doing. I'm like, I hate sweating. I hate doing this, and our head coach just laughs at me because the only coach. I'm moving around. I'm doing whatever,
Yeah,
and they're laughing at me. I'm like, go coach quarterbacks or something. Go over there and do that. I'm over here sweating my ass off right now.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. We went down to Vegas a couple of years. We were going to San Diego. We went through Vegas. We stopped in Mesquite. We got out. It was like 108,
oh,
right? It was 108. Now, granted, no humidity, but it was 108. 108 is hot. That's
oh,
the other thing. It's a dry heat. Yeah, so it's nothing, right? Like I got out of the car and my wife and my niece were like sprinting to the gas station to get inside out in the sun. And I'm like slow walking, strolling. My wife's, what is wrong with you? I'm like, oh, I haven't been warm in years. Like it was just really like it was this beautiful heat that I hadn't felt in so long
right.
because that's where we were living in Park City, and I just was we just never in the heat. I was like, and it wasn't bad. It was just something that I hadn't experienced. It was like what it's like being back home when it's
Uh-huh.
heat index to the roof. You're like, it gets right into your joints. It just felt good. I was like, oh, I'm loose. It was
Hmm.
nice.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So you can go to miss it. I miss cornfields. I miss humidity at times. Like was it somebody posted it? Was it you that posted that picture? Like some back road 2 lane?
Yep.
And I was like, you sucker, you got me, man. And you know, I miss a good alternated corn and soybean field. I miss them, you
Yeah. I
know?
went to my parents' house, and from here down to Champaign, you could, or where they live, you could take 57 all the way down, or you can take Route 49 by Kankakee and take this road where it's just one going this way, one going this way. I was like, I'm doing this one today. And
Yep.
you're just driving by all the cornfields. They just had the storm that come through. Things were destroyed, but before you got there, it was beautiful. I'm like, I miss this. I'm driving 4 lane
Yep.
roads up here in the suburbs, and like I missed it. And then you get to my parents' house, and it's like there's a tavern 5 steps away that way or whatever, and it's just quiet.
Yeah. No, I say I miss it, and I do miss it. I don't miss it enough to come back visit,
Yeah,
but I miss it.
it was
Yeah.
nice to visit. It was nice to just like go back home. There's tractors, there's whatever, blah blah blah. But they had the branch that fell on their house from the storm and this and that. It was on a power line. And
Yeah.
the country boy in me didn't come out. Country boy in me was like, let me go move it. And they're like, if you snap that power line, it's gonna electrocute you. And I was like, I could do it. Like, let me move it. And they're like, don't you touch it.
It's yeah, probably not the best idea. Leave that to the guys, the pros, man. Leave that to the pros.
I know, but the country boy in me was like, nah, we got it. We could do it. We just cut ourselves. And we're just
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I get it, man. I leave that to the pros. I had a bunch of kids that when I was at Riverton, they got to be linemen, right? And they're linemen. They go all over the place, travel everywhere. They've made good money, man. They
oh
went and
yeah.
got their certification. They didn't spend a bunch of money on college. They went right to work. Heck, half of them got like, they got the toy truck, they got the boat, they got land. Like they've done really well for themselves. But they earn it, man, because they're out doing that stuff in those storms. Like it's still, I mean, they're grown men. They're 30. They got kids and stuff, and I still worry about them when we had a big storm, man. I'm like, I'm glad because I know how good of dudes they are. So I'm glad they're the guys out there helping
Mhm.
people. But man, I'm like, God, just be safe, guys, because it just,
Yeah.
you
The,
know, you just it's a tough job.
it was a storm of like 85-mile-an-hour winds. Tescola
Hmm.
had the tennis ball, like the hail was tennis ball sized. And when I was driving down there, it's clear till you start getting to like Gibson City, then you can start to see where it was destroyed.
Yep.
And they had 8 states from power line companies, 8 different states that had come to Central Illinois and like try to fix it. People didn't have power for a week and 2 days.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. Yep. My hometown got hammered. My
oh,
hometown got hammered. Bad deal, man. Like literally, like the day they got power back, people were like, the grocery store had no food.
yeah,
Everything went bad.
yeah,
Right. So it's like, yeah, we're open, we're cleaning, we're trying to get the stink out of here.
uh-huh,
Right. Like we have the shelf stable stuff and that's it. Right. Like it's just even that, like, all right, finally been a week, and then yeah, it was a bad deal. Like my wife and I one time we were in Springfield and some straight line winds came through and it was only like 50,
uh,
but it was like we like saw like like the metal wrought iron kind of like patio furniture and stuff.
uh-huh,
Like we saw one of those pieces go like, I don't know, 100 yards down like Wabash.
yeah,
Like it caught the umbrella and it was just sailing. I was just like, whoa, trees were
yeah,
uprooted. And like that wasn't a tornado, that was just wind. You're like,
uh-huh.
wow. golly, man. And like I said, that was like 50, 55. It wasn't the 85 that they had. It's,
Well, then when I visit, because I was like, my parents are like, you have power. If you don't have power, I'm not coming because if there's no air, I ain't coming.
love you guys. Hope you're well. But
Yeah.
if I'm inconvenienced, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. I was like, I don't want to inconvenience anything. And they were like, no, we have power. And I was like, I swear, if you lie to me and I got to come down there and fix everything, I would have went anyway. But I was like, trying to
Yeah,
I was being a jackass. They
yeah,
had
I like
power.
it.
They had power. And
Nice.
then another storm came when I was there, like that Saturday night. It was like, oh, a storm's coming. And I'm like, okay. So it happened again. Like not bad, but the wind still came back. And the power company was like, we can't catch a break. Like it just all happened. They had 50-mile-an-hour wind come through and
Yep.
like another branch broke and like this. And they were like, I was like, there's a curse right now in central Illinois.
Yep. A couple years, this is a long time ago. This is probably 17, 18 years ago. There was like a winter tornado that came through like central, like Springfield, and then like an ice storm. Or maybe the ice storm came, then there was like a winter tornado. So like the ice storm like broke everything, right? Or no, the tornado came first and just shattered everything, right? And then the next thing happens, anything that would like survive but wasn't in great shape, they got inches and inches of ice on everything.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, because I remember I was living in St. Louis, but my corporate office was still Springfield, and like we got 2 days off because then no one could get in. There was no
Yeah.
power. The phone lines didn't work. But yeah, they were like 4 days apart or 3 days apart. It was like the exact same thing. We're like, okay, we just kind of it calmed down. And like, oh yeah, wave two's coming.
Uh-huh.
So what's the calendar right now in Illinois, right? Like, what are you guys? Is still sevens? How are you guys spending your time right now, ball wise?
Um, it, I mean, you can go all summer. You have 25 days to use. For us, gotta be careful how I say this. We got tired of fighting everything else in June. So
Yeah.
he wants to push back the camp till July, but we're tired of fighting everything. So we're only going 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Okay.
and that's
We
it.
did that. We did that in Missouri. We just gave them 4-day weekends. We didn't have to worry about travel baseball if they want to go down to Lake of the Ozarks, right? All that kind of stuff. Like it, and actually, like it's something. It's a maturity in coaching. I
Uh-huh.
had this conversation today. So I don't give out playbooks.
Uh-huh.
I don't give out playbooks, even though my defense on theory is super complex. I don't think it is, but I can see how the outside world would think it's complex, especially like if you're an incoming freshman.
Yeah.
It's a lot. There's a lot going on. But I don't do it. And the reason I don't do it is like one, I don't know how much a 14-year-old can read a playbook and understand it well enough to absorb the necessary information for it to translate. Okay.
Right.
Second part is like if let's say I made 50 playbooks, defensive playbooks. How many do you think I'll see in the locker room, on the ground, or in the parking lot, or crumpled up and just jammed in the locker somewhere? Right? I'm sick. What do we think? 3/4 of them?
Yeah.
Easy, right? So when I see that, I spend all that time building it and printing them and putting them together. It's gonna put me in a bad fucking mood,
Right.
right? And I'm going to take it out on the kids, right? And even if I make them run gassers or I roll them or whatever we do, at the end of the day, I'm still pissed. And
Right.
now they don't like me, right? Because I just jammed on them for being kids.
Right.
Or mature coach Gardner goes, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give them the opportunity to piss me off and
Uh-huh.
have to be mad at them and hate them and then make them hate me. So I'm just going to teach them, let them take their own notes when we have meetings. But I'm
Uh-huh.
going to teach them. I'm going to spoon feed this to them anyway, which is what I'm going to have to do in the first place.
Right.
So, like going to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, well, sucks. If that avoids me being pissed off about a kid missing because he's playing baseball or family's going on their fourth 4-day weekend of the year, right? I'm happier. If I'm happier, it's less work. It
Yep.
just feels like less work, right? And so I think that's a smart thing. While you hate to feel like you're conceding growth or opportunity, the matter of the fact is, man, I'm not frustrating myself. It's probably good for my family too.
Uh-huh.
If I can sneak away for a Friday, Monday or something or whatever, right? It's probably good for my coaches. So for me, it's like, while it's frustrating that you can't stack up the days, it's like, it's probably not a bad concession,
Yeah.
right? Not what I would say the biggest issue would be like the weight, like going the weight room 3 days in a row, you have to do kind of pick and choose your battle, right? A little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
but we had it open
but
in
yeah,
June. June, the weight room was open. There was just
yeah,
no, well, the original plan was okay, 3 days a week, the weight room's open, gives them opportunities. Basketball camps going on. If they're going to play basketball, at least they're doing something.
yeah,
High school baseball camps going on. Or if they're doing travel ball, they're doing something. But the then we got invited to go to West Chicago High School for Chicago Bears outreach and USA football. 4 schools come, they get put through drills. Then you play 2 7-on-7s, and
nice.
we'll donate $2,500 to your football program just to show
Oh,
up.
cool.
We were like no brainer, so we showed up.
Yeah,
First day we've done anything, so we told them like, hey, can the coach be on the field for our 7-on-7s because we've just chalk talked. We haven't really
right.
whatever. And they're like, absolutely, because every school was in the same spot. It was June 8th. And so,
Yeah,
and then we already knew we were going to do a 2 day 7-on-7 lineman challenge with the Bears outreach and Nike football. It's a competition to try to win money. Top 8 teams win money. Rochester won it last year and won it again this year. So, like, whatever.
yeah,
It was supposed to be at the end of June. So we knew at the end of June and July we'd start. Well, then it got moved up to June 14th and 15th. So we had the June 8th thing, then June 14th and 15th. So we were like, okay, one of these weight room days, we're gonna have to go outside and actually walk through things. And like,
yeah, yep,
so that just threw us a loop. We had the game, we had stuff planned, and all of a sudden, we're gonna move this up. Okay.
yeah, yeah. We similar situation. Our first one was June 5th, and then the same weekend the 14th, right? I
Yeah.
think we had because we can do spring ball here,
Okay.
but we don't really do it full blown because all our kids are playing either baseball, lacrosse, or running track.
Right.
Right? Lacrosse team won a state title, track team won a state title, baseball team got beat by the state champions in the quarterfinals.
Uh-huh.
Our kids are playing, they're competing at a high level, right? We're still lifting. So we don't mess around with it. But we went to like the University of Utah's 7-on-7, and I think we had 40 minutes of practice in at that point, right?
Yeah.
And then other people had gone for weeks,
Yeah.
right? They did a true spring ball because their kids don't play other sports. And so, it's whatever. We did okay, right? We did fine. It actually got the tournament part got rained out, which is great. So we got 4 games in, got some practice, didn't have to go out and we got done early.
Right.
And then like the next week we went and played again or whatever. We had one more 15-minute period where we worked on some stuff. Went up there, we lost in the semifinals, had a good day. But we are the same reason. We go right after moratorium of the fourth. We'll go for like 2 weeks. We'll have our camp,
Uh-huh.
right? And then there's a week between the end of camp and the start of fall camp.
Uh-huh.
And that's like the last call for vacations and that kind of stuff. That's like when we
Right.
do our testing. So some kids are like, "No, I want to test. I'm not missing it." Which is okay, great.
Right.
If you missed, you missed. But it's that last call before, because it started. And because we have so many kids that are out in June doing camps and vacations and travel and official visits, and if we tried to do too much, it would be just aggravation. Plus, like I can see why if we went like the first week of June, it'd be kind of cool because you'd kind of have a better feeling of where you stood,
Uh-huh.
and you'd still feel like you had 7 weeks minus the moratorium to make corrections.
Right.
But the problem is if you go helmets and shoulder pads and you do all that stuff in June, you can't ever do it again.
Uh-huh.
And so now you went 2 weeks with pads, and now you're going to go 6, 7 weeks without putting them back on.
Uh-huh.
In a way, I like the ramp up feeling. Now we
Yes.
have to start the helmets now the pattern over again, but it feels more like we're building towards something.
Right.
And like we're not fighting against stream in June. And that's what we do. Now I will say like our summer program is pretty intense, right? It's 4 days a week. It's from 8 to noon. So it's four
Okay.
hours. There is a break in there, right? So we're doing speed, agility, athletic development, and then we go to the weight room. So there's a
Uh-huh.
break in between so they can like rehydrate and that kind of stuff. But it's 4 days a week. It's intense. It is.
Yeah.
We lift 6 a.m. in the off season, 4 days a week. And we get after it and it shows. And I think like if you ask like our head coach, there's two things he's probably would hang his hat on the most. And it tells you like this is a guy who's been to a semifinal or better 8 straight years. So like when I tell you this is the guy, this is the guy,
Right.
right? He says it's the weight room and how we practice. Those are the two things. It's not he's renowned for his quarterback. He's kind of like imagine if Derek Leonard had 20,000, 2,000 kids. Understand? You see what I'm saying? Like right now, we
Right.
got like uh the year before last, starting quarterbacks at Ohio State start fighting for the starting job. The guy before that is the starter down at Ole Miss. He started as a true freshman at USC. Right.
Okay.
So like
Yeah.
dudes, right?
Yeah.
Like national Dart was the national Gatorade player of the year, right?
Right.
Like the kid before that won, like I think he lost one game in his high school career as a starting quarterback. He's now at BYU. Like
Mm.
dudes, right? The guy before that is a guy named Zach Wilson. So dudes,
Right.
right? And like he's not saying, oh, it's our offense, it's our quarterback development. He's like, it's the weight room and it's what we do in practice. And he's 100% right. Like I love the weight room. I love for guys to get after it, and what we do in the weight room is second to none. Like it's absurd what we get done, and it's not like we have this palatial. Like the school's only 11 years old, um,
Okay.
but or 12 years old, 11 or 12 years old. But like the weight room is not designed for like 100 kids. Like
Mhm.
well, like on a Monday morning, we had one Monday morning like we had 108 kids in there at 6 a.m.
Jesus.
We all yeah 16 racks, 100 kids.
That must be nice.
Nice, but you talk about that's the most humid place in Utah. We don't have the space, man. We're
That's
cranking
true.
guys
Yeah.
through, but it's a commitment thing, right? And like
Right.
it's just the standard. And so that's the part. So like well, I'm talking about when we come back from Christmas break, it is 4 days a week,
Hmm.
6 a.m. before school, and then you either have the period following first period, on we block every other day. So
Uh-huh.
like either you have that class right after first class is either yours our speed and agility class and strength training class or the following period. So then he usually follows up. So twice a week, you have kids that go from 6 until the end of first block with
Hmm.
football. And so if you have that kind of chunk of time, you can get a lot of stuff done. And so that, yeah, I think like, yeah, I've just got a new appreciation for it. Not that I didn't love the weight room and the stuff I was doing in Missouri, I thought was really, really good. And I thought we were doing the right things. The commitment to it in here, I would say that's the biggest piece is that
Right.
like we don't have any bad bodies really. Guys are in there working really, really hard, strong kids. Um, and it's without exception. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you sound like a Texas team right now, in a way.
They don't they
You're
don't
not
want
at a
none.
level, but
They
they
don't
don't
want none. They don't want none. No, but that's what it's like. It is like that, right? And it's not everywhere in Utah, right?
Yeah.
There are teams that I would say we're probably one of the few anywhere that goes as hard as we go. But there is a definite like commitment to it. Um, and that takes time too. Like, it helps if you win 50, if you win 49 straight games, you get away with like that,
Hmm.
right? Like, but yeah, that's the big thing. I think for us is how hard we work. And like it's nice whenever your sprints coach is a head football coach who is a meathead
Uh-huh.
himself. He's in there cleaning 300 pounds. He's a year younger than he's 44 years old. He's still in there cleaning 300 pounds. He's a meathead, right? But
Okay.
he's a meathead. He's in there and we're doing the sprint drills with him. He's right. And so, there's a big degree of like connection. He's not standing on high,
Uh-huh.
dictating down. He's in there with him. He's taping his thumbs up. He's chalking up. Like it's all that stuff.
Right.
I don't. I'd fall apart if I tried to go
Yeah.
in and
No.
clean it twice a week.
No.
Um, you know, I was thinking about playing some ping pong the other day with the kids. And I was worried I might pull something. You know, so but
That's what I
yeah,
do.
yeah,
I walk
yeah.
I walk in and I'm like, guys, it's an awesome day. And they go, why? And I'm like, it's just awesome to walk in and be the best basketball player as I walk in. And then they all want some. And I go, okay, I'll play you one on one, but I need 2 days rest in between.
Yeah.
I get
I,
ball
I,
first.
I was talking, we have so the boys basketball team won the state title this year. And one of my DNs is like the sixth man, seventh man. And he's a little too tall for me. I'll admit that he's too tall for me. When you get above 6'3", it's hard for me to beat you 1-on-1. And he's a legit 6'4", 6'4.5". And so but like I have a left shoulder injury right now. And I'm like, I can't play him if I'm not 100%.
Yeah.
So I'm going in to get a cortisone shot next week. I'm like, all right, Sam, I'll be healthy in 2 weeks. We can play that one-on-one, but I'm sure he'll crush me. He's a little younger and much better shape than I am. So
No, that sophomore quarterback I talked about, I coached freshman ball. He was my best player, and he never came out of the game. And finally, we played one on one, and they all kept calling travel on me and like yelling at and blah 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 blah. So then I got actually mad and competitive. I was like, all right, let's go. And I'm sorry, mom and dad, if you hear this. I won 8-0. So sometimes when I see him, I just go, hey, 8-0. And he's like, that never happened.
I one of my Will Backer is a great kid. I absolutely love the kid. He's just he works hard. He's got a great attitude about it. Football's really important to him. His
Mhm.
dad's one of our sophomore DC. Good friends with my kid, so he's around,
Yeah.
Um, but he took the ACT, like the mandatory one they take for school or whatever, and he didn't. Right, he's just a knucklehead. He
Right.
just for a second he forgot he was a 16-year-old and he needs to have a good ACT score, right, as part like of qualifying, right?
Right.
And so he's changing like so. We got a huge roster, right? And numbers are important to kids, but there's a pecking order,
Mhm.
right? And so if you're a sophomore or you're a junior, the number you want isn't going to be there by the time the seniors that are in good standing go through.
Right.
It's not, right? We got to go double numbers, right? So we have 2 5s, 2 8s, 2 6s, right? There's certain numbers we don't double up. And it even causes we almost got hit with a penalty last year because we had 2 5s on punt return. We got substitution happened weird. But anyway, and he wants the number he had all through youth. He's finally a senior. So he's like, I'm going to get number 8. He's wearing 48 the last 2 years. Now he's going to 8.
Uh-huh.
Like, perfect. But he's got to take the ACT next Saturday. And I'm like, hey man, what are we doing? He's like, well, I got to take it. I'm like, cool. I'm like, if you don't beat your score from last time, you're gonna wear that number. I was like, nobody's gonna know except us, right? And so
Right.
you're gonna wear that number, and we're all gonna know why you're wearing that number. So study,
Uh-huh.
because I was like, because he's the kid that was like, I'm going to this camp, I'm going to this camp, I'm going to this camp. Are you going to ACT prep?
Yeah.
Are you going to go to ACT prep? Are you going to actually invest in your future, Bubba? Like, yeah, I get it. It's fun to go put on 3 numbers and a cutoff shirt and run around and do drills. I get it. But like, don't you want to make sure you're academically qualified?
Yeah.
Like, that's part of it. Like, it's part of it. It's just as important. You're limiting your opportunities. Like, but what's if there's some school, some D2 that wants you, but it's a high academic school, and like, well, we'd love to give you money, but you can't get in because your ACT is this or your GPA is
Mhm.
this. I was like, that would be an embarrassing conversation to have.
Yeah.
I go, I've seen it. I had Cal, when I was at Park City, Cal told a kid no because his freshman grades were so bad. They couldn't get him in.
Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I had a kid that Wash U in St. Louis loved. He got like a B- in math. They're like, sorry, dude.
Yeah.
Guys that go into our business program don't have B-minuses in that math class.
Uh-huh.
Now he's at Notre Dame. He's going to graduate. He'll be okay.
Yeah.
But like because he got a B-, it just took that school off his list of possibilities.
Right.
Right. And it's like I'm hammering him. Like, if you don't beat that school, if you don't take it serious, you're not wearing number 8. You're gonna wear that ACT score. And we're all gonna know. No other crowd won't know. The people in our stands won't know. It'll look like you changed your number to that's the number you wanted. But I guarantee you somebody else will wear 8 and you'll be wearing your ACT score if you don't score above what you did. So yeah. And that's why I tell the kids all the time, like when we're on the football field, I coach your football. If
Yeah.
I scream or yell at you, I'm loud, I'm demonstrative. But like I'm telling you your football sucks. I'm not saying you suck. I'm saying your football's not good enough, fix it.
Right.
I was like, but if I'll also tell you when you suck in the classroom.
Mhm.
I'm not talking about your football. I'm talking about you as a student, right? Like I understand that we all have different phases in our life. If I need to correct you on football, I correct you on football.
Right.
However, I'm also willing to correct you if you are being a bad student. You're not
Yep.
doing what you need to do. Also, if I see you out in public acting like an idiot, I will correct you, the human, too. Then
Yeah.
it won't be about football. It will be about you, who the human is.
Yep.
right? And they're like, understand that I'm not saying you're a bad person when I chew you out on the football field. I'm saying your football is not good enough. I will also am willing to chew you out over you being a shitty human,
Yep.
right? And so same thing with the school. And so I'm like, remind guys, like I don't just coach football.
Yeah.
Like when you sign up for this, right? Like I'm saying that if you give me your best effort day in and day out for these 4 years of high school, then I will make sure that I continue to give you my best effort for the rest of my life.
Hmm.
That's the agreement. You give me 4 years and we get a lifetime together. Part of that agreement is that Coach Gardner doesn't really have an off button. And so if you act like a piece of crap, I'm going to tell you you're acting like a piece of crap. If you're a bad student, I'm going to tell you you're a bad student, right? We've got some kids that have made some huge turnarounds in the last 6 months academically, and I'm as proud of that as I can be with them, because I actually know that's the hardest for them,
Yeah.
right? It's the hardest thing. What's hilarious is it's no surprise to anybody that's done this for a while, is that their football's gotten 2 or 3 times better.
Hmm.
It's amazing how if you can figure out how to do the thing you hate the most or least talented towards or have a proclivity for, all of a sudden you're a little more disciplined on the football field.
Hmm.
And doing the hard shit in football becomes really easy,
Yeah.
right? And to have that conversation with a kid when we had a kid who like literally they had to come to Jesus on Easter. My DB coach went to the house, called the parents, we're meeting Sunday, went to the house, and it was the airing of the grievances,
Hmm.
and it was good. And he has been a model player, student, athlete since. And like you watch the tape, I have nothing for the kid. You watch his tape from last year, and it's amazing how his play and his grades, the faults on the field, the faults off the field were perfectly aligned. And
Yeah.
now that he's figured out how to do it off the field, on the field has gotten so good.
Yeah.
So that's been a fun thing this summer to be like. And I got another kid who like struggles academically, actually was ineligible for our playoff run last year, because eligibility is a little different in Utah than it is like in Illinois. And he was ineligible for playoffs, right? And so he's taking summer class. He's taking like a trig class because he wants to go into something in college. I think he's going to go pilot. If he wants to be a pilot, he has to get like to calculus essentially.
Uh-huh.
And so he's taken a kid who's had bad grades in the fall of 22 is now taking a summer trig class, accelerated summer trig class. Just realize he wants more in life,
Right.
right? And it's been awesome to see. And he's like, "Hey, coach, sorry I couldn't be at that meeting we had or that chalk talk Zoom because I had class. Please do not apologize for trying to make yourself better. Like
Right.
I recorded it. Dude. Here you go. Right? Like so that's been probably one of the cooler things this summer. Those two guys specifically that have really made a big turnaround on a personal level. Um, and like I said, it's amazing how it's mirrored their football play has gotten better too.
Yeah.
Pretty
And
cool.
I've learned when I got older, we can't save them all either. So like,
Mm-hmm.
because we had a kid, we still do. I don't know if he's going to play as a freshman, 6'6", probably 300 pounds, and you see
Yeah.
that walking through, and you're like, I tell some college coaches, and their eyebrows get raised up. They're like, "Oh, how does he play?" And I was like, "Well, I'll find out." And then you find out how they are. And I've straight up told him to his face, like, he was kicked out to a rebound program. He got in a fight during a basketball game. He failed to do summer school. And so I'm like, some college coaches have reached back out, like, how was that kid? And I was like, I'm not wasting your time. Like, don't
Yep.
even worry about it. He's a sophomore. I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. And like
Yep. He's got to grow up.
you have those
Yep.
conversations with them, and all of a sudden you look, oh, out of the 6 classes you take, you have 5 Fs. So like,
Yep. Yeah, man, it's tough, dude. It's hard to watch that happen. Like I get it. One of the things that I had to learn as a young coach was to trust actions over words,
yep,
right? Because the kids are smart, they're savvy, they know what they're
yeah,
supposed to say.
oh yeah,
Um, and so for me, I'm always like, nah, just trust your actions. Like, show me, don't tell me yes sir, show me yes sir. I'll trust your actions way more than I'll trust your words. Um,
hmm,
and that just comes again that maturity of a coach, man. Like learning, not putting your happiness in the hands of a 17-year-old, right? Like, right,
yeah,
safeguarding yourself against the pitfalls. Like you're making your own misery at times, right? Like it's
mhm.
just it's amazing how you do it long enough, you start getting better at that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm 32, about to be 33. It took me till now, and I feel old. Everything I feel old though.
Yeah. Well, I didn't start coaching until I was 30.
Oh yeah, I think you told me that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm 45 now. I've been doing it for 15 years, but like, I know the lessons you've learned in your 20s, I hadn't even started with yet, right? Like, and that's I've said it before. It's like that's what's kind of spurred me on my development was feeling behind, right?
Uh-huh.
Like I attacked my learning and my development like I was behind. Like I'm, because like my first year coaching, our head coach was a year younger than me, and the defense coordinator was 3 years younger than me. Right. So I graduated in 96. Josh Lee graduated in 97. And when I was a senior, our D coordinator was a freshman. Right. And like
Uh-huh.
our inside linebacker coach was like 2 years behind me in school. Like, so it was, I mean, I was like the third oldest guy on staff and I was a first year coach.
Uh-huh.
Right. And then like my next stop, I was like the second youngest guy. And, it was just weird how that changed. But like we were a real young staff and I didn't know anything. Like my
Right.
mentors were younger than me, but they had been doing it. They played college ball. They've been part of it. They never really had a summer off from it. And here I come in at 30, smart guy, smart. I can connect with kids, but I don't know anything.
Hmm.
I don't know darn thing. And so, now you come into my fifth, it's what, 15 years in. Now it's a different approach, right?
Yeah.
Like I still work like I'm trying to catch up. Right. I still like my off season preparation, my development. Like I still feel like I'm behind,
Uh-huh.
right? Because I'm still working for a guy that's younger than me. Now he's only a year
Right.
younger than me, but I'm working. But he's been, like I said, he's been a head coach for I don't know 10 years. It's just like the resume wise, like I still get those feelings of like I'm not outworking people. I have to do a better job, right? I have to learn more, do more, be more.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I think that's a good thing. I don't know if that'll ever go away, right? Like I don't know if hopefully it doesn't. Um, but yeah, man, like I can't imagine if I would have started at like 22, 23, 20, right? Like, um, you know, yeah, it'd be interesting. And maybe I'd be burnt out by now. Who knows? Maybe you can't burn as hot as I do and for 20 years, 30 years. But
Yeah.
um,
I
yeah,
was
I don't
I was
know.
19,
Nice, nice.
and the only time I felt burnt out was the COVID year. That was
Yeah, that
bad.
was you guys had it rough. Like we had it bad, like from just the normal stuff of like contact tracing and that kind of stuff. But we still got to play games. We didn't like I was in Park City that year. We didn't get one cancellation,
Yeah.
right? We didn't have any cancellations. We had some close calls, but we played games, we were pretty much unaffected. But yeah, you guys in Illinois had it rough, right? And especially like when they took the playoffs away from you guys, it was like, man, like putting all this work in, we're doing all these things, like for like not a whole lot of payoff. Not that like I mean, obviously like three-quarters of teams in Illinois don't make the playoffs anyway, but still, it was just like the hope, the illusion of some sort of like pursuit
Hmm.
of that was just gone. And it was, yeah. I think most everybody I've spoke to, even teams that were like really successful, right? I had buddies that went like undefeated that year and were like sick over it
Yeah.
because, or what if that's the team? What if that was the year the team that was going to do it? And then other people were like, man, we won 4 games, we won 3 games, we won 5 games, we won the playoffs. And then the
Yep.
next year they don't make the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs the 5 years before, they make the playoffs after, and they're like, damn it.
Yep.
Like that was the year. And so
Mm.
yeah, and just like the weird stuff and just all the extra protocols, like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dudes that, you know, and then I think you guys had to also then you had to juggle like, what do we do this summer? We
Well,
just came off football,
that
right?
was
Like,
it was Groundhog Day every day for that because I don't care if this is political or not. Literally, 'cause I coached all three sports. So basketball
yeah,
started first. I did that. Then I did football. Then I did track. Track ended, and literally 2 days later, we got told go back to normal. So that third day was football and basketball. Like nothing happened.
yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing is like I think guys were like I had some buddies that we talked about. They're like maybe we just don't even meet. Like just we'll see you after the 4th of July. Like literally not even like nothing structured. Like
Yeah.
a little bit like I need to get away from you guys, you need to get away from me so that we're excited to be around each other and do the work that we just did 6 weeks ago or whatever it was. Like Yeah, I could see. And I think that showed in like the coaching rankings. I think you saw like not that year, but the following year, you saw a ton of people leave,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
right? Like I think it's still showing up. I think that just the the whole thing I was preaching to the kids and to the other coaches the year of COVID was like it was frustrating because like usually not good at stuff the first time you do it.
Uh-huh.
And so everything was new. How do you handle this? How do you handle that? Because we had like the worst thing that we had was like we had restrictions from like a sideline number. Like you could only have X amount of kids on your
Yeah.
sideline. So like you had kids that would have like, so let's say we get a running clock, right? And we go to sub. We had no subs
Right.
because we were two platoon and our
Uh-huh.
number was like 45 or 50. Okay, well, I've got 22 in starters, right? I've got
Uh-huh.
another 5 or 6 key rotators. That's 32. I need the punter, a kicker, a da 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 da. All of a sudden, you're like, man, we're at like, hey, you don't get to dress,
Uh-huh.
right? And it was like you had to feel like it was almost like in pro, like, can you play specials? Can you do this? Like you had to be like a guy was like those last 5 spots were like versatility spots,
Right.
right? And like so it was like, okay, well, we'll bring this kid, we'll bring this kid, but the other kid, like it was just tough to tell a kid, hey, you can't dress out for a home game when every kid, every sophomore for the past decade had done it. And then now you're a
Uh-huh.
sophomore, you don't get to dress out. And our
Right.
numbers were getting big enough there where there were juniors not dressing, right? And we followed the rule. And then like, I kid you not, like week 7, I watched the game and I looked down there and the school had 100 kids on the sideline. Like, why am I breaking my kids' hearts?
Yeah, if other schools are doing this. Yeah,
And
it's
you've got 80 kids on your sideline.
uh-huh.
And I'm telling kids no. I'm literally like, hey, so and so got hurt. Now you can dress. Like literally, bus leaves at 3:30. It's 3:07. Hey man, da 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 sick. He just got popped with COVID or he got contact traced. Can you make the bus or can your parents get you to the school at this time?
Uh-huh.
It's just no way to live. And so
No.
that was even like I said, like it was that was one of the things. Like so we didn't know how to handle stuff. I know I mishandled things. I know I mishandle things. And I would just find myself on Monday being like, yeah, guys, I don't know. I've never done this before.
Yeah.
It took a lot of the fun out. I think we won 9 or 10 games that year. It still was awful.
Uh-huh.
Still awful.
Yeah, because I was coaching basketball at Nequa, and so we were dealing with all that, and we won a lot of games, but still, it just felt weird with that. And then you're trying to balance, at least in Illinois. Then you had a 2 week overlap, so they were like, "Hey, start football this day." Well, it's like, well, they're still doing basketball.
Yep. Yeah,
So
my buddy's the head coach at Plains.
yeah,
You don't mess with Pleasant Plains basketball. You do not mess with Pleasant Plains baseball,
no,
right? And same thing. He was like, well, I guess we'll just wait.
yeah,
Like all my skill kids play basketball, like all of them. It's like yeah, I've got 6 kids at practice and without the basketball kids. Like I got 6 varsity athletes. The other 20 are on the basketball team.
yeah,
Like yeah, it's just wild, 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 man. That was such a crap year. Or like, like the your stomach would drop out. You'd walk up to practice and your 3 offensive linemen are walking out of practice with their gear because they got contact traced.
yeah, yep,
We had kids taking remote classes, but one of our quarterback, he had to go on campus one day a week for an hour for a lab. He got contact traced in that 1 hour. Like we had kids that were taking, like they would sit in the corner and take pictures,
yeah,
and they were like, "So and so in your class got tested positive." Like, yeah, yeah, I'm not within 15 feet of anybody. I'm in the corner. Like they would show pictures. Like, no, no, nope, 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 nope.
uh-huh.
No. You're not getting me. It
Right,
was crazy. Um, we did get lucky though. There was a pediatrician that bought one of the rapid test machines in
uh-huh.
town, and they made a mint. But like, so kids could go get rapid tests to prove that they weren't. Because at first it was like you had like my kid got dinged, got contact traced. He had to miss like 2 weeks,
Yeah,
right? And so because of the test time and this and all that, well then we got the rapid test and we could get kids back within like 72 hours. So
right,
if you got contact traced on like Monday or Tuesday, there's a chance you could dress prior.
yeah,
But like my kid got an injury and then contact traced twice, and he almost missed half a season. We didn't get any back. Like we paid to have him have the rapid and all that
yeah.
stuff. So for 2 things, one, so he could go and play his last game, and then also so he could go trick or treating. We're like literally like dude's favorite holiday is Halloween, and we're like, hey man, if just in case you're sick, like we can't send you to people's houses.
Right.
Like we just can't. You can't be the freaking outbreak monkey going for Snickers bars. Like we just can't
Right.
do it. So we literally got him tested, got the results back like 15 minutes later. He was good. So we're like, fine, cool.
Yeah.
But geez, man, just wild times. I'd never want to go through something like that again. And yeah, it was nuts, dude. It was absolutely crazy.
I almost shut down the
But
basketball season because the first day that Illinois said you could practice, I'm at Nequa, brand new. He's like, "Yep, we're gonna practice today." That morning, I woke up with the worst headache ever, and I was like, I'm just not gonna go to school today. It's from looking at a computer too long. Is what I was thinking.
yeah,
Girlfriend, now fiance, woke up and she's like, "Are you going to work today?" I was like, "Nah, I got a huge headache." And she goes, "Well, if you're not going to work, because I don't miss work," she goes, "Maybe we
yeah,
should just go test just in case." We drove and got tested. We're so confident that we're not positive. We even stopped and got Dunkin' in the drive-thru on the way home. Blah 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 blah. We get home. I'm like, all right, I'm sitting here. Phone dings. You've tested positive. And I was like, oh, shit. So I called the head coach. I'm like, so I know you just hired me. I'm brand new. I have COVID. I can't be at practice for 2 weeks. And he goes, man, you almost shut us down the first day.
yep, yeah. It was crazy. Like we had kids that had it, didn't know they had it,
Yeah.
right? Like before the testing started. So like, I think there was some of that. Like I was like BYU, like so Provo was wild during COVID in the beginning. It was like they didn't believe it was real.
Yeah.
Right. Like you go anywhere else and like barbershops are closed. There's nobody on sidewalks. I go to Provo and it was business as usual, dude. It
Yeah.
was wild. So like when they started testing all the college teams and all the college teams getting dinged, if you go back, BYU had a great season, but they didn't miss a body. They all got it like before the testing started. So like they were all asymptomatic or cleared. It was wild. So like I think there were teams like that where like it had hit them before testing started
Uh huh.
in the summer, and so our kids weren't getting sick because I think we had in the first like couple of weeks of COVID, Park City was in that top five list. It was like four New York counties in Park City because what happened was there was one outbreak, but also like it's such a like a destination place.
Yeah.
So like everybody like fled to Park City or like the students that we had like wherever came home.
Uh-huh.
And they brought it from everywhere.
Yeah.
So it was like the first like couple of weeks it was spreading like crazy. Then it stopped. But like there for a while, it was like it was going everywhere. It was
Uh
just
huh.
like, yeah. But that was the cool. I was like, okay, so it was a good thing and a bad thing because a bunch of people were getting it, but no one was dying. No one was really really sick.
Right.
And so you're like, okay, is it a matter? Is it like everyone here has health insurance?
Uh huh.
Right? We're out in the sun more? What is the deal? Whatever the case was, like we had a ton of cases, but no one was dying. So it was really a blessing, but also gave you a feeling of like, okay, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
So, it was in a weird way that like it was actually a little bit of a good thing that we saw like lots of cases, but no one was really getting super sick for whatever
Right.
reason.
Right.
Yeah,
And then I
yeah.
got it the second time the next year.
You got it again?
Yeah, it was the end of school. It was the week of finals 2021. I woke up, something was weird, showered, got ready for work. I literally took a step out the door and I was like, something just isn't right. Let me walk back in for a second. So I walked back in, realized I couldn't smell anything. And I was like, this is what's wrong. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't go to work, go get a test.
Maybe.
So I went and got a test. The rapid said negative, but I had to wait on the other one. It says positive. So I emailed the human resource guy. I was like, so I'm positive. He's like, all right, here's the new rules 5-day quarantine. Then you can come back. Cause then I was like, I have basketball. He goes, then you
Yeah,
can come back for 5 days, but then the 5 days you have to be in a mask. And I said, okay. The next day I felt great. Like it went away.
yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, we were lucky, or it was so mild we didn't even realize.
Yeah.
You know, our whole house kind of avoided it, which was good. So
Yeah. The first time we had it, we died. We literally probably died. We
yeah,
like, if you ever heard stories about trying food because you couldn't taste it, that was us. We were like, what if I took a bite of this onion with chocolate syrup on it and let's just see what we could do here? Nothing. Like there was nothing.
that's crazy.
I tried to learn how to drink black coffee because I was like, maybe this is my time I could learn how to do this. And so we were doing that. It was the Super Bowl. Like I had COVID
Okay.
in the Super Bowl of 2020, 2021, whatever that was. She could leave because she brought it from work. So her quarantine ended a day before me. So she went and got wings, brought it back, and I couldn't taste them. I was like, this sucks. And my smell and taste were gone for like a month. I was like,
Oh,
this is
really?
awful. So at football practice, Addison's right by a donut place. They could smell donuts being made and stuff like that. And they're like, Steve, can you smell like guys? Or they're like, guys, this smells awesome. And I'm like, must be nice. It must be nice that you guys can smell this right now because I
That's
can't.
hilarious. That's hilarious. That's funny. That's hilarious, dude. No, yeah, we got lucky. We were very fortunate. Like I worked the whole time. I was out in public the whole time because that's when I was still doing copier sales, repair, IT services.
Mhm.
So I was in 8 to 10 businesses a day every day during the pandemic because we were considered essential to
Yeah,
because we had banks and financial institutions that were our customer base.
right.
So we had to be there. So I was literally going to people's houses. I was going into businesses, like, masks and stuff or whatever. But like, yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna get it. Like I just was like, I'm gonna get it at some point. And
Yeah.
never did. Yeah, I was pretty lucky. But yeah, man. But yeah, football wise, like looking forward to this summer. We're replacing 10 guys on defense.
Okay.
Which obviously it can't get much worse than that. We
Yeah.
did replace 8 guys last year. It's just kind of the way of this program. Like you kind of have to wait your turn.
Yeah.
Um, and so we've got 10 guys to replace. We had a couple guys get a spot start here, spot start there for injuries and stuff, and they did a good job. So like, so it's I say 10, but realistically, like 2 or 3 of those spots, 4 of those spots, we felt like we had guys that were ready to walk into those spots, right? Or he were super comfortable. One of them got hurt running track. He popped his ACL, and that hurt us a little bit. But we've got 2 DBs and 2 backers plus the one returning starter at D line. So it felt it's more like 6 than it is
Uh,
10. But it's still like being a full time starter is a little different than making a kind of a surprise starter, spot start, especially and you know we were lucky the timing wise, like the one of my linebacker that I had to replace one time. We played a team that was heavy run, and the kid that I had to replace was really good against the run,
uh-huh.
right? And so it was that kind of thing where the safety I played was a thumper, not great in coverage, but a good thumper, and that was the same week we had the heavy run team. So like we worked out okay with this, but we're going. We started camp this week, right after the 4th of July moratorium. Today we had camp. Day 3 was really good. We took a huge jump. I think we really had to knock some rust off.
Yeah.
We haven't really practiced yet, and today my DBs really looked good. Our fits got better. Like it was a noticeable jump for us,
Uh-huh.
which was good because that's the mod. We want linear growth, right? We want it just steady up and to the right, up and to the right, nice
Right.
and flat curve, and that's just not what it is, right? It's
Yeah.
not. It's anything but linear. And so, first day we were pretty good. Second day we were, just a little disappointed maybe.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, I know what it is. It's your feet can't move if your brain's moving more, right? Like
Uh-huh.
analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis. And that's kind of was, you could see our head we were thinking so much we forgot to move our feet, whether it was
Right.
coverage or even like running to the ball, pursuit.
Yeah.
Like we just were slow. We weren't attacking it. And it's like, and I am pretty open about hating pursuit drill. Like, I hate pursuit drill. Like
Uh-huh.
we don't do it. I think it's a waste of time because I feel like team and those times, that whole thing is pursuit drill.
Right.
Why am I going to carve out 5 minutes and put down cones and give you landmarks when I'm like, no, no, no. We got 15 minutes of team. Do
Yeah.
it there. We're an inside run. Do it there. We're in sevens. Do it there. Like I don't need to take time away from something that's a little bit more impactful.
Right.
And so we weren't pursuing the ball, and I was getting a little agitated, but I knew why, but I still just gets under my skin, right? Because I
Right.
feel like if you're a DC, your resume is your tape. And
Uh-huh.
like I always feel pride in like I can show any tape I've ever coached, and my kids, we fly to the ball. And we weren't for 2 days. And I was like, all right, just don't lose your shit. Like they're thinking. And so today it was better. It's still not where we want it, but it got better. So like it was nice to be able to go into the weekend, to be able to do this podcast and actually be able to actually engage and talk without thinking about
Uh-huh.
practice, right? So that was really, really good. So we took a big jump today. I hope that that's I like that that model, even in practice. Like I love a shitty Monday practice. Like I want to leave Monday pissed about how shitty we are because I know we'll get better Tuesday. If we get better Tuesday, we'll get better Wednesday. Right. We'll put a polish on it. Right. But it's like we had a great Monday. I'm like, oh, because that
Yeah.
means Tuesday or Wednesday is going to suck. There's no way we can have good Monday, good Tuesday, better Wednesday. We're going to throw a clunker in there. And maybe it's only two periods or whatever, but like I kind of like to see us like struggle, figure it out. And so like for me, it was kind of cool to see that like Monday install, our first day of camp was slow, wasn't crisp, but we were, kind of in the right spots. Tuesday was probably the bad, the second day was kind of crappy
Mhm.
because we kind of know where we're supposed to be, but we're not executing. And then today it clicked. And
Right.
so I'm like, that made me really happy. So I'm like, all right, cool. Monday, this next week we'll come back. We'll go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We scrimmage another team. We'd like to be able to put it together, right? That growth model again, come back, watch it, do that kind of stuff. So um, I'm really excited about where we have. Like it's a unique challenge for me. Like so, like everywhere I've ever been, and this is most people. This is 90% of programs. Is like you either have 11 good ones or you have like 8 or 9 good ones, and you're hiding a guy or two, right?
Right.
Like even when we were two platoon places, like if you're two platoon guys, you still sometimes are like that 11th guy is a little question mark, or that guy's a little shaky. And then if 11's shaky, that means 12's real shaky, right? Like if that guy can't beat somebody out, and I have guys that are iffy or we're not like stoked on, then it's like this year, and like that's what we were last year. Last year our rotation was like 13 kids, 14 kids.
Mhm.
We had one inside, one outside, one DB, and like a D line. So max we had 15 kids, and that wasn't every week that they played, but we were pretty versatile with the 11 we had. Um, you know, so had 10 seniors. Of course, we were versatile, right?
Right.
And so this year, though, I think we might play upwards of 20 kids in a rotation,
Oh wow.
and wow.
Yeah.
I've never had that as a coaching like hurdle. I mean, it's a hurdle.
Yeah.
It is because I mean, like I said, we're not good at shit the first time we do it. So I'm like, okay, how do I do this? Because what it is, it's like last year's kids. All right, so the two inside linebackers are at BYU. My two outside linebackers are going to Snow College Junior College. I got a corner going D2, a corner going D2, safety going FCS, and then the other corner could have played college ball but doesn't want to, and he runs like a 10-7 fly, right? Right. And then my one DN got a bunch of D1 offers, decided he doesn't want to play college football. Another D1 kid is D1 as a junior. And then my nose guard's a good kid. So we had essentially 10 collegiate level players.
Right.
Right. So there wasn't not a need to sub. Right. Like they had complete skill sets. Right. Like they maybe not were amazing at everything, but they didn't have a lot of deficiencies. Where this year's group, like these guys have some amazing skill sets, and then they have some glaring deficiencies.
Right.
Right. And so it's like, okay, but as a collective, we don't have a lot of deficiencies. So as a coach, my big thing is like, I need to make sure I'm asking these kids to do the stuff they're good at.
Right.
We still got to work on the deficiencies. We're still going to grind. We still want to get better. We still want to see the needle move and improve. But I'm not going to, if I ask that kid to play that technique or play that coverage or play that spot, and I call this, then I'm doing him a disservice. I'm doing the team a disservice.
Right.
Right. So for me this year, it's going to be a lot about like juggling personnel, like per game plan. So let's say I'm playing a bunch of cover two. I have two really good cover corners. They're not real physical.
Mhm.
Right. So if I'm going to play cover two and put them in the run fit, especially like into the boundary, that's probably not my best coaching job.
Right.
Right. And then like, so I have a safety who does a pretty good job playing like off man, but he's not great in like deep half coverage. Right. So he's good at man, he's bad at zone, but he's a thumper. So
Mhm.
maybe that week my corner has to go to safety, my safety has to go to corner. Right. So now I'm playing to their strengths. I'm asking the rangy kid who's an athlete, who maybe isn't a thumper, to go play in space. I'm asking the kid who's better at man, is more physical and will tackle, to do those things.
Uh-huh.
Right. If we're going to play a bunch of man, then what's weird is the kid that's good at playing catch man at safety, he's not tall. So if you put in catch man on one end of the boundary, we're just going to ask for fades everywhere.
Mhm.
Right. And he's not as good there. So it's like, okay, so if we're going to play man, I can't have him playing corner. I got to have him at safety. And so for me, it's like, okay, this week I've got to bundle. This is the part I'm working on is how do I bundle? How do I communicate my groupings?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how do I say, hey, this week, whenever I call out this or we say this, it's going to be A, B, C, and D in response. And then I know when those guys are in, I'm only going to call these coverages. Right.
Right.
And so, whereas like maybe last year, I wasn't impeded by anything. Right. And so that's my challenge this year is like making sure that I'm asking what they're good at. Right. And because I think that's what I'm saying. It's like, hey, he's not great at that. Yeah, but that kid is, but he's not good at what the other kid's good at. So, what can I do to make sure that I'm protecting those guys and playing to their strengths? Um,
Right.
again, I think we could rotate 20 guys.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's
And
a lot. I think we have, well, right now we have um, three DNs with a D1 offer, a D tackle with a D1 offer, right? And so they're putting some of those guys play offensive line.
mhm,
So, but like they're going to come over and play defense. They have to. They're good. They deserve time. That's where they're a prospect. It's only fair to the kids that they get a chance to put down some tape where they're probably going to play collegiately.
mhm,
It's just a matter of like they're good high school offensive linemen because they're big and they're physical, but they're 6'2", 6'3". So they're
right.
not going to play tackle. You're 6'4", you're not a tackle, you're probably a D end, right? You're 6'4", 245. That's not a right tackle at the D1 level, but it is a nice start for a D end, right? So um, those are the kids that so our rotations are kind of crazy. And so then it's like, okay, well, I've got this backer who's maybe more of a nickel. This guy's more of a true like heavy footed Sam. So that's going to be the challenge. That's going to be the unique part of this year, which I've never had.
I was going to say,
And
like, I was thinking from an offensive perspective, like you could have these four kids in this package, and this one you've moved this kid to C, this kid to here, just because of. But you've got to make sure on your play sheet, like you are only going to call this. You can't panic and
yep,
call this and put them in a bad spot.
yep, 100%. And like, and it's a little bit. You're right. It's a little bit like playing calling offense. Where hey, we're going to go. We're going 12.
Yeah.
We're going this right because I have like if you think about it, like if I've got these defensive ends, like if it's 3rd and 12, I don't need to be in my odd front. I could probably put three D1 DNs out there. That
Right.
would probably right, and then a kid who's got D1 offers at nose.
Hmm.
So I would put my 320-pound nose guard in there, who's nasty, and then put three 6'4" or taller speed guys out there.
Hmm.
That probably be a pretty good pass rush. So like, right. So for me, it's like, well, that's something I should do, right? Like in that situation. So for me, it's like, okay, how do we do this? How do we juggle it? How do we communicate it? And we have some of that stuff figured out, but again, it's like, okay, because in the past, like I had done kind of like line changes, like hockey line changes to
Yeah.
a degree where it was a scripted substitution. So like a third series, we're putting these four guys in. This is the sub. Like so I would like intentionally make myself put a sophomore in for like 2 or 3 plays a quarter, getting some exposure, getting some plays, settle him in, see if he can do it for 2 or 3 plays. Then that way the 2 or 3 turns into 4 or 5, 4 or 5 turns into, that kind of thing. And so, and I used to just give them colors, like it's like hockey, red
Yeah.
line, white line, black line, blue line. Well, the problem is like we use colors as coverages, so I can't be yelling out colors on
Oh
the
yeah.
sideline.
Yeah.
So even that, like I got to come up with like some sort of semblance. It's just like anything else. You call it, that's what it becomes. But I have
Right.
to figure out some way to like organize the personnel and then where they're going to be in the person,
Right. Yeah.
right? So that's effective. So that was like, and then also like be able to not get caught,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like if I go and I sub and I put in 5D line, let's say I put in true like a 5D line, and then they come out spread empty. I've got to be able to have enough in there to not have to burn a timeout. I've got to,
Right.
like that kind of stuff. Like I can't get caught just because they sub in, they're tied in a fullback doesn't mean they're going to line up in 11 or 12
Right.
or 21, right? They may line up in empty, and I'll be like, oh crap, I don't have the dudes on it. So it's just that kind of stuff. It's stuff that I've never had to navigate. So that's kind of my exciting part this offseason is trying to figure that piece out.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, but it's also exciting. Like it's going to keep you thinking, like constantly thinking and planning. So your mind's just going to constantly go, which can be bad, but it's also good. Keeps you on your
Yeah,
toes.
I haven't had a call sheet ever.
Oh, really?
I've never used a call sheet. If I carried a call sheet, it was actually for special teams depth charts. And
Okay.
then I would put little notes, right, in the margins for
Uh-huh.
defense, like, hey, stay aggressive on first down, blah, 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 like that kind of stuff, like trust your calls. Like it was more like self-affirmation stuff. But like this year, I really am probably gonna have to carry a card
Uh-huh.
so that I know I'm getting the right grouping. And then, like you said, like those things where, hey, this is a no call. Like you cannot run this coverage and this grouping,
Right.
right? Because if I'm putting a linebacker, I'm putting a D lineman on, I'm taking somebody off. So I'm either taking my Will, my Sam, my Zeke, or I'm taking a safety off. Well, if I take a safety off, we can't play any too high coverage. I get one safety. So,
Yeah.
and so it's not 0, 1, or 3. Okay,
Right.
which is fine. I'm fine playing all those coverages. But if I do that substitution group, right, and that one's obvious, right? That one's an obvious one. But like if I sub out, like, let's say I sub out my nickel.
Uh-huh.
Well, now that changes what I can play because those guys don't know it's not like I just pull the string on my mic and I can do that, but he's not as versed. He's going to be doing stuff that he hasn't got reps at.
Yeah.
So is it worth the trade off? Right. Or it's like, hey, if we do this, are we going to have to play man? Are we going to have to play one? Are we going to have to do these things? Which is fine because it's giving me a better pass rush. It's giving me different kind of talent on the field. That's fine. I just have to be able to, sometimes like I say, it's not as obvious what I can and can't call.
Uh-huh.
So like for me, that's one of the things I'm working through is like, hey, this is a no go, no go, no go. Like, so yeah, this year I might actually have to carry a sheet uh, just to keep my shit organized. Or
Right.
like what I'll probably end up doing is have my guy in the booth have a giant chart and remind me of things, because I'll probably lose my mind if I have to carry something around.
I was gonna say you have to have your coaches even do more too, like the assistants, like make sure you're getting this to me quick so I can.
Well, that's the thing too, is like I'm realistic about the package. Like, so if I put that fourth D lineman in, so
Yeah.
here's the choice. We're at odd front, right?
Yeah.
And so if I want to put the fourth D lineman on, do I stay odd spacing with a four-man front? Do I go to true even space? Right? Do I go traditional over unders, that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Indians and outlaws, those kind of things. Or do I stay and not change my inside backer fits, not change my D line fits, and just add that guy like a mid type front, right? Where
Yeah.
I've walked up that fourth guy, we stay in our odd spacing. So that really hasn't impacted our fits all that much. So that's where I'm twisting. It's like, well, where do I want to take it? Now, it's more, either way you look at it, it's more teaching,
Yes.
right? Because now we've it. While I say it doesn't impact, it has impacted. It clearly has. I'm doing it for a reason. And so it's like, well, do I teach that guy, that fourth D lineman? Do I now teach him how to box?
Uh-huh.
When to box? When's he on the QB? When's he on peel rules? When he's so it's like, okay, well, how much time do I have?
Uh-huh.
Right? What skill set do those guys? Right? Because they're kind of we have 3 or 4 guys that can do it. So for me, that's the other part. It's okay. Now it's a whole new position. So I have an outback. I'm lucky enough to have a D line coach, a strong side outside coach, a weak side outside coach. I coach insides. I have a safeties coach and a corners coach. Blessed.
Yes.
But I just added a new position and it's a tweener between a D lineman and an outside linebacker, right? Like so
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
he plays like our outside backer at times, but he also plays like a D lineman. So who coaches that dude? When does he find any time? Right? Like it's all those kind of things. That's the stuff. It's like it's great in theory
Yeah.
to be able to be that versatile and that multiple. But can we handle the personnel groupings? Can we handle the difference in limitations? What the trade off? Everything in
Yeah.
football is a trade off, right? Can I handle the trade off? And can I enable the kid to be effective in it and not just rely on his talent, right? Like, can it be something that like we can actually enable that kid to play at a high level and put, or just be like, hey, we're winging it because I'm not a wing it kind of guy.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, man, it's kind of cool, but it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot just to like, again, it's like, is it overkill because I can? Maybe I shouldn't. I should just be like, be vanilla, be the base stuff,
Yeah.
right? It's not as much fun. When I think whenever I can put like a 6'4" kid, 6'4", 230 in a 5 and a wide 9 right next to him at 6'5", 220. Like I like that idea. Like
Right.
RPOs are not fun if a 6'5", 220 pound kid's running at the mesh.
No, there is no more read. It's oh shit.
Get it, get it out because you're not gonna throw over it, right?
Right.
Like he's athletic, he can jump, all that stuff. So it's like, that's a huge piece. And I like that piece. The trade-off is now I have to make all these corrections.
Hmm.
Right. And so, that's where it's been. And it's fun. It's fun. Like, that was maybe my complaint when we were a stack team. We were so
Hmm.
vanilla, that we, we, there was nothing to coach. We were really good and we played cover three 80% of our snaps. And then the other 17% were quarter, half.
Hmm.
And then we played cover one the rest. That was it. Played three coverages. 80% of the time we played cover three. We didn't care. Two
Right.
back, 2x2, it was cover three. So we just practiced the same shit every day. Literally a broken record in practice. You could have taped practice, it would have sounded the same every day. Not real exciting from the coaching side. Now we won a ton of games and we were tough,
Yeah.
but it was Groundhog Day.
Uh-huh.
It was reroute, midpoint. And that was it. That was every day.
Right.
Whereas this is like, okay, I've got all these tools and it's kind of fun to tinker, but you also don't want to just ruin it by putting too much in.
Right.
The art of coaching, right? What knowing enough is enough, right? Um,
Right. Playing to their strengths and like being versatile to play to their strengths too. If they can do this, then we're going to do it. If they can't do this, then why are you even trying to do it if they can't?
and I've got a kid. We talked this a little bit before. We talked about like kids you love that maybe don't have like the physical tools or whatever. So we have this kid. He is awesome. He's a captain quality kid, high accountability, right? Like the kind of kid you'd want. He also bench presses 400 pounds,
Hmm.
right? He runs a 11.7, right? But in our league, being 5'10 and 190 pounds is tiny,
Yeah.
right? And so he's not real super fluid. So he's like, got to play D line. He's got to play something. So like, but if I can play him down, walk him down in that ghost nine, that wide nine, and let him play in a 2 point and be a rocket at the mesh and chase things and be aggressive, like, man, he could have a lot of fun in it,
Hmm.
right? I don't know how much fun some of the other roles he could have for us would be, but there's a role for him to take ownership of, right? And since he's maybe not playing another job, maybe that's a kid that I can keep after practice for 10 minutes, coach him up, individually coach him his indie times after practice. So
Yeah.
that maybe that's a chance for him to actually take some ownership and contribute to the team because the kid's been just absolutely aces for 4 years.
Right.
Right. And so, that's part of it. Like it's obvious I want to take my big stud dudes and do it, but that's a kid I'm like, I think he can help us there.
Right.
Right. Cause I don't know at nose guard, he's going to be, because we see some giant O linemen, right? Like it's hard to give up 110 pounds,
Hmm.
right? Like our guard, our nose guard, our center on offense is like 315. Our one guard is 320. The tackle is 305. Our small guy is 255.
Jesus Christ.
He's 6'4", 255. He's the little one. Our right guard is 5'11", 260. Is a top. He finished top 5 in heavyweight wrestling as a sophomore. Also did it as a freshman. I mean, it's like if you're a 195-pound D tackle, life is hard.
Yeah. No matter how much you
I,
lift.
no,
No matter.
yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Right. Like, I mean, his 4 lift total would probably be over 1,600 pounds
Wow.
at 190 pounds. I mean, you are getting stronger and it can run.
Yeah.
But it don't matter if you get a down block. You get our left guard and our center double team him. That's 635, 640 pounds.
Yeah.
You're not winning that. Nobody's winning
No.
that, right? And so that's why I'm like, oh man, if I could stand you up, keep him out of double teams, right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's a little bit like, that's why. So that's probably why I'm willing to go down the road as far as I am, is because I think it's going to be kind of cool for a couple kids,
Right.
right? Like it's going to be good for because that's the thing too, is the couple of kids we have, the one kid's, it's coming down to like Utah or BYU. The other kid just verbal to Boise, right? And then I have a kid, my fourth D end just got an offer from BYU, and my second string, actually my second string D end right now, my number two, my not second string, first string number 2 overall, doesn't have an offer. he's just a robot. He's 6'4", 185. He's a basketball kid. All he does is what's asked of him, down and down, right? And so I don't want to get any of those guys off the field, right? So if I can get three of those dudes on the field for pass rush down, it works. But also if I can get like the smaller kid or that out there on first and second down to
Mhm.
do similar things, then it's like then to me it becomes exciting. It becomes worth it because I'm like I'm not just trying to because it'd be good for my studs because they're going to play that edge role in college.
Right.
They're going to stand up and walk down and stuff. So it's good for them to have some exposure to try to get them ready.
Mhm.
Um, but realistically, I think doing it for the other kids is just as important. Give him a chance to get paid off for 4 years of work. So,
Yeah.
but it's a headache. It's a
I was,
headache.
I was gonna say it's adding more work, but
Yeah, and it's just
yeah,
right, everything I've ever done is started off with, man, this would be help us,
yeah,
right? Like, like, and so it's like, well, is it worth adding that? Is it worth this? Is it worth that? Well, the good stuff, good shit sticks,
yeah.
right? Like if I install it and it doesn't work or we're not good at it, then it's my job not to call it,
Hmm.
right? Like last year, you know what our best offensive formation was last year? Our most productive per snap formation
Victory
offensively. What do you?
formation.
No. Like yards per snap, like success rate of play action, quick game, deep balls, run. Like if you look at it like a total package of what we did out of it, our best formation last year was pro I
Really?
because people don't know how to line up to it.
Oh,
It's so foreign,
yeah.
right? We lined up pro I and gave people the business last year, right? Like we're the spread team and we just getting pro I and people are like, we'll stay too high and give you a 6-man box. Good luck. We'll run power at you.
Right.
We did, right? And so that was kind of the crazy thing. So like, um, you look at it, you're a spread team. Was it worth putting in a pro I in? Yeah.
Hmm.
It gave us an edge, right? And it was relatively simple because it matched what we kind of do anyway. It matched our personnel. We had a kid who was a good running back, but he's not a 20 carry a night kid,
Hmm.
right? He was good in screens, he was good in pass pro. So we're like, yeah, he'll block well too. So let's put him in at fullback. That's really what we did. We did it to kind of take care of a kid, and then we ended up running it. And people aren't lining up right,
Hmm.
like at all. Like we can line up, and you're like, oh, they don't know how to line up to this, right? Like it was startling. And like this year, I loved it. I was complaining to some of my buddies that first play of team in camp, we came out in 12 personnel. First play. I was like, really, dude? First play, we had 15 minutes of indie and 10 minutes of install, and you come out in 12.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, and thank God I had the right like I had my outside backers that were in were experienced guys. So
Yeah.
I made a check that we hadn't even talked about, and we lined up and played it. But like I was just like, really first play, and I was like, well, I mean, I love it because as a defensive guy, there's nothing worse,
Right.
and we have the guys that can play it. But yeah, I was just like, really first play, you couldn't give me just like 2x2 offset, like like 12,
Now I gotta call timeout
12,
the first play.
12, and they ran freaking counter on us. It's a good time. It was a
Timeout.
good time.
Hold on. Timeout. First play. Hold on a second.
And our O-line coach spilled the beans. He told me ahead of time. He was
Oh,
like, "Man, we're coming out in deuce." I was like, "What? It's first play coming out in deuce." I was like, "Well, all right, here we go."
okay.
But so I wasn't completely flat-footed. But I was like, "Gee whiz, man, you couldn't give me a play, 2 plays to kind of settle in." It was no, it was pretty funny.
I thought it
So
was first 7-on-7. They man pressed us. I was like, we haven't done pat and go yet, and we're getting full court, like full press, and we're like, here we go. All right, what do I call to get them out of it?
yeah, yeah, my buddy that's at Plains, Hamilton, they went and played down at Chatham. And I think they had I think their first game was against Belleville East.
Oh,
Second game was against Peoria.
oh my god.
They're like, hey.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, great. Press zero the whole game, right? Like, Yeah, it was. He was like, we learned some stuff, and, but that's sevens. Like, if you take like, I'm a football coach and my sevens coach.
Yeah.
Like, I don't call man two. Even though this year I think defensively we will run more man two than I have collectively my whole career,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like our offense is going to put people in obvious passing situations earlier in the game.
Uh-huh.
I feel like people are going to be forced to throw at earlier and more than they want.
Yeah.
I think people will abandon the run against us sooner than maybe a typical season. And I still didn't run any man two during sevens. I didn't do it. I played our core coverages. I
Uh-huh.
played the stuff we're going to play the bulk of, the stuff that we need to be good at,
Right.
right? Like, I just won't concede it. Like, I love our head coach. He's an offensive guy, right? Guru guy, does not care for sevens. He literally will keep 6-man protections during sevens. He will have the back come up and stay in and block
Mm-hmm.
because that would be the protection for that route during the season. He's not calling a sevens version of that concept. He's
Right.
calling the concept. And in
Right.
that concept, you stay in,
Right.
right? There's another team here in Utah. They'll line up pro I, nine, and be an 8-man protection, 2 routes in sevens.
Yeah.
Because if you look on the film, guess what they're doing? And that coach is like, look, we run this, we have to be able to execute this. And so we're going to get in the red zone. We're going to line up in power I, right? Pro I. We're going to go play action, throw a fade
Yeah.
because that's what we'll do when it matters. And so we have to be able to execute it. And I was like, so when I play those guys, I'm like, I love it.
Yep.
I love it because you're trying to get better, right? Like, there's a lot of talk about, like, we talked about a couple of my buddies I heard doing like a tactical sevens where it's scripted. 10 plays offense, 10 plays defense, right? And we're going to go third and medium. So if we say the first down marker is like the 25,
Uh-huh.
right? We'll put the ball anywhere from the 31. So we're in that 6 to 8 range, right? And we'll spot the ball. If you get the ball to the 25, it's a first down. You still have the shot to take a shot in the in the extended green, right? Green
Yeah.
zone it. So, but it's like you're going to have those scripts. Hey, left hash, right hash, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, all those things. So then you, as the OC, can plot it all out. As the DC, I can plot out my calls. You throw 10 straight touchdowns, I don't give a shit. You get 10 straight first downs, I don't give a shit. We're going to get our work in. And then we're going to switch. And then our offense will have those 10 plays in that situation, right? And then we'll go down and go, hey, we're going baby red zone, right?
Uh-huh.
From the 6, from the 4. Can you throw it in from those compressed situations? What's your concepts, right? And then like, okay, now we're going to go like 1st and 10 openers, right? Whatever the case may be. So we'd set like a whole scenario for a block of plays,
Right.
right? Because then it's like if you had 40 plays against another defense and you scored 40 touchdowns, no longer is about scoring. It's no longer what the points are. It's about can you, because that's what we do in practice. We don't
Uh-huh.
even do sevens in practice ever. We go situational. If we're going to throw 3rd and 8, we throw 3rd and 8. We have a pass rush. We have the backers. Everybody's on it, right? Because
Right.
that's what's going to be in the game.
Uh-huh.
So why not do that? So like for me, it's like, why not do that in sevens in the summer? That way, come in like, hey, we got 4 games against these 4 schools. We got 160 snaps. We're going to be in these 10 different scenarios, right? And even if you wanted to have a conversation with a DC, like, hey, man, are you going to run any like man? Are you going to run like you could even be like, hey, look, we're going to right? Can you give me some crossers? Can you give me some rub routes so we can work on this?
Yeah.
Like if you have rubber, you could actually ahead of time send the script out a couple days ahead of time and like, hey, man, we're going to run this and this. Could you give us some of these looks if you have it? Because the coaching circles are small.
Yeah.
And if the minute we take the competitive part out, like obviously it's great that you guys go and get money and stuff or whatever. That's awesome. But like if it's just about work and about getting better,
Uh-huh.
I don't think there's a better way of going about it to put ourselves in scenarios that you get realistic calls
Uh-huh.
instead of like you got 4 downs to get 15 yards. What the hell is that?
Yeah.
Right? You got 4 seconds in the red zone. No, you don't. You have 2.8 seconds because at 3 seconds, the quarterback's going to be on his back.
Yep.
Right. And so, like, that's things like we go baby red. Now the clock's not 4, the clock's da-da-da.
Uh-huh.
Right. Now you don't have to yell sack. You don't have to not play it out. But if you're the coach and you're being honest, you know that you went over 3 seconds. You mark it. Hey, sack. Da-da. You don't lose the rep. You don't not let the guy scramble around and throw it.
Right.
right? Sack, and everybody stops. No, dude, do you care about the picks? Do you care about this? Like, let's learn. So yeah, maybe it was a sack, but you still deliver the ball.
Right.
So as a coach, you're like, hey man, we were at 3.5. I don't think we're gonna have that kind of time. Right? Like, but the kids still got a rep, still got to catch it. We had to learn to play defense for all 3.5 or 4 seconds. Like there's so much value in that.
Uh-huh.
But we get caught up in the other bullshit of
Yep.
trying to win it or trying to do this, running, triple wheel routes and running running backs down the pipe that you're never going to do that shit in the season.
Right.
And that's things you don't have to do that every week. Like you can do two competitive 7-on-7s where there are points and you do compete. But I'd much rather have one, at least one a summer where it's all situation driven,
Yeah.
tactical sevens, all about situational tactics.
Yep. Because like a team's coming to us next week for a joint practice, and that's what's going to happen. At first, it's going to be, hey, can you just run some of this at us or do this or this? Then once we figure out, then we'll get into maybe like 5 plays. Like, hey, call whatever you want. We got to be put in that situation like we don't know what's happening, and
Yep.
they'll do it, and then we'll do it for them too. Like it's just
Yep.
communicated that way.
Yep. Yeah. I think it's, if you're about getting your kids better,
Yep.
I don't know why you wouldn't want to do it. I get it. A little bit of the need for the other stuff too, right? It's good to
Yeah.
compete. It's good to go do those things. But realistically, like if I did like one competitive one or two competitive ones, but I had a tactical one or two where I could go and get that work in, and I would feel a lot better about that because also like I can just be like, hey, this situation, we're only running one coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Third and medium, we're only running this coverage. I don't need to check it. You don't need to look over at me. It's only this. We're going to play off man sticks, off man sticks. Put your heels at the stick,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, and I don't give a shit if they complete 10 in a row, but we're going to learn how to play it.
Right.
Yeah, that's so I'm really pushing to do something like that next year here in Salt Lake. Um, because that's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever been over like to IC Grounds does that a little bit. They do one where it's like you just go 10 plays. They
Uh-huh.
could score 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, doesn't matter. They get the ball back, do it again.
Right.
But I just want to put in the scenarios where like it's intentional. Like it's
Yeah.
3rd and 8, it's 3rd and 7 from the left hash, it's 3rd and 6 from the middle of the field.
Right.
That kind of stuff. Just me though. So
That's a great idea.
I think there's value. Right. I think there's value in it.
Well, that's why you're
Plus
the
two, like
smart guy.
maybe right. Maybe smart. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it could be a defensive guy thing.
It could be. Yes,
It
probably.
could be a defensive guy where a defensive guy is like, let's work on these. I don't know. I think as a offensive play caller, I think it makes sense because you know what's great, and you know this. When I go to make my call and the kids already know it before I signal it in,
Uh-huh.
right? So let's say you're like, hey, like this week, because that's what we do in practice. Like, hey, this week our 3rd and medium calls are these 3 calls. Our 3rd and long calls are these calls. Why are those calls? Because you've worked on them all week,
Uh-huh.
right? Like we used to do a pivot chart, and when I was in Washmo, we had a pivot chart for all the plays. So Zach would have a script of like his 10 plays, and we would just run through it as fast as we could, as many times as we could. And we just charted success and how many snaps we snapped each. And I made a pivot table. So at the end of the week, he knew it. Those were our 3 best 3rd and mediums. Those were our 3 best 3rd and longs. We had statistical data. We ran that play 17 times. We ran this play 3 times. Well,
Uh-huh.
guess what? We're probably going to execute better. That play. And so when you come up on 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 8, and he goes to signal in, the kids are already lining up in the formation and know we're running stick
Uh-huh.
because we run stick all week in this situation. Well, I think that's the same thing you can do in the summer. Like a 3rd and 12, especially too, like we have sticks calls, you guys have 6 calls.
Right.
Okay, you're running a speed out. Okay, where's the speed out? Well, it's 3rd and 7, so it better be 7 and an inch.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and so I just think that makes sense to me. Like I said, I'm willing to be like a crazy DC that's just like grumpy about bullshit sevens. Just fine. I got some gray in the beard. I can be, but I just think I think there's a need for it. I think
Yeah.
there's a need.
That's why I shaved mine down so you can't find it.
Oh, I joked around. I did the 3 guard all the way around, beard,
Yep.
head, everything. I missed one little spot like right here. I was on a Zoom meeting for work, and like so like you can kind of see the button,
Yeah.
right? That was the one piece of little tuft of hair, and I would move it like highlighted. I'm like, oh crap, I missed a piece. It was pretty funny. I was like, and then of course I'm on the meeting the whole time, like trying to hold my head the right way so they can't see like that. I missed my piece of hair.
Is your neck all right? Yeah, I'm fine. It's all,
Yeah. Like, I'm an ex okay. Did I tell you I took it? I told you I got hit today in practice,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Hilarious. So like, um, uh, I'm the typical defensive coordinator guarding the post, right? Like the
yeah.
bane of all offensive coordinator guys. So I'm watching, and we are playing man on the backside, and we had a kid run like a delayed post, and they slammed into me. And I braced. I saw it coming, like at the last second, and his helmet got me a little bit or whatever. It was just funny though because the kid freaked out because he realized it was me. He thought maybe it
Yeah.
was like another DB or something. And he's like, "Coach, are you okay? Okay." And I laugh because it's like a 145-pound like corner. I'm like, buddy, I'm old, but I'm not that fragile yet. Like I'm okay. But I got taken out 3 years ago on the sideline, like in a game, like almost ass over tea kettle. Like I got blown
Oh.
up, and it was by my stud backer. He was a big kid, 400 tackles in his career, like a monster. But the problem was both kids, they like healed me, they kicked me with their spikes. And
Oh,
so I get up or whatever, and he's like, "You okay, coach?" And like, like your adrenaline's going, you just
yeah.
got hit. And I was like, I just was like, man, I wish I had a kid that could fucking hurt me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I was just like, I wish I had a kid big enough and nasty enough that could like actually hurt me. Um, I did I maybe had a little bit of a limp for a couple days after from getting hit, but I did not limp at film the next day. I did not show any weakness in front of the boys. Uh, like even today, I walked over and I was like, I was doing the dodgeball thing. Like he made me bleed my own blood. Like I had to spit out a little blood. But yeah, it's good. It actually felt kind of good to get hit. Like I know it sounds funny, but it felt like I haven't been hit in a while. That was nice. So
Till you get
yeah.
home and you're like, oh God, damn. You're like, man.
Well, that's the thing too is like the more old guy stuff. Like I've become caffeine sensitive in the last 6 months. So my
Okay.
entire life I could drink caffeine until the minute I go to bed. No issue.
Yeah.
Now it's becoming an issue. But the old thing, my old guy thing from last season was, so we played Skyridge, and Skyridge are teams that beat us in the finals. But this is the regular season game. This is for essentially for the region title, and they have the Mr. Utah football, Mr. Player of the Year, right?
Mm,
And he's a DB, 10-5, 10-6 kid in the 100, uh, dangerous, right?
yeah.
Anytime he touches the ball, is a chance for it to go to the house. And so he punt returns and kick returns, and plays all over. Play corner, plays nickel, plays safety, wherever they need him. But they have these awful orange jerseys with light gray numbers and white trim, so
Hmm.
you can't see the number.
Right.
And so we're going to kick off, and I can't tell if he's on the right side or the left side. I can't see it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I just can't. There's not a contrast. He's like number 3, the other kid's like number 5. I
Yeah.
cannot tell which one is which. And
Right.
so I call the booth. I'm like, "Is he on the right?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "3 is on the right." They're like, "Yes." I'm like, "Cool." So we don't want to kick the ball to him. And so like I came home that night and I was telling my wife, like, "Yeah, we probably need to go have my eyes checked." So last year, like 3 quarters of the season, I started wearing glasses. And so like I was just relieved I didn't smash my glasses today because of like that was it. So that's like a new problem. So every year I'm sitting to get like another old guy thing, right? Like
Right.
now I can't drink a energy drink at 6 o'clock before practice, and now I have to worry about my glasses getting broke at practice because I can't get out of the way of a post route anymore. So
Oh man. I was gonna say I need my energy drink now. I'm thinking about it. It's in the fridge. I'm like, I gotta get that thing.
oh, I had one this morning. I had one this morning at 6. I after 2.5 hours of sleep, I just couldn't. I was like a game last night, right? We got done at 9. I was amped
Yeah.
up. I'm thinking about how shitty practice was. I could not shut it off. I passed out for 2.5 hours, didn't move, like dead to this world. Like woke up, my joints hurt because I didn't move a millimeter,
Yeah.
and then was wide awake. And
Yeah.
I took a nap before this so I could bring my best for you. But boy, this morning was rough. I was eating breakfast at 4 a.m.
Oh
and like, yeah. It
no.
was not great, less than ideal. We'll go with less than ideal.
Yeah,
So,
especially on a Saturday. You're like, oh, I gotta it's supposed to be a
yep.
day of like just practice later, but now I'm up at 4 a.m. and
Yeah, we practiced, and then tomorrow I've got my two inside backers, ones that are both going to BYU. They both leave for their mission tomorrow, so we have to go to that. We're going to their farewells, which is kind of new. Obviously, coming from Central Illinois, I only had one Mormon athlete ever,
uh,
right, until I got out here, and so it's kind of unique that, a unique thing. It's kind of be interesting to see what that's like. The one kid's going to Arizona, the other one's going to Sweden.
Oh,
So
that's
a
cool.
little bit different, different missions, but it'll be cool to go see them. Love those kids. Wouldn't miss it for the world to go see them on Sunday. Uh, it'll be, it's pretty exciting for them. And it's just like we have another kid that's going to he's going to South Africa. We have another kid going to like all these great places, and then the one kid got Arizona. How's that? How's that work, man? I had like a kid in Park City that went to London. Like there's some really cool places to go and see and be, just experience it. And then he's got like Flagstaff. Just not, it's not the same. So yeah, a little different. So, but it'll be cool. It'll be real cool.
Well, coach, I took a lot of your time. I didn't realize
No
how
worries,
long.
man. No worries. We have fun. Like, well, that's the same as like, we talked we probably should have hit record the
I
minute
know.
we get on,
I
but
did that
it's
with
good.
Coach Carrick. Coach Carrick does one Flex by 101. As soon as he got on or the night before, he was like, "Steve, don't talk to me. Just hit record. Just go." And I said, "Okay," and that's what I did.
Yeah, that's what we should do. I think I could do it like with Banstra. I think Banstra and I have more time off air, like off record, than on record.
That's what he
Like
told
when
me.
we've been on there a couple times, and it's like, oh yeah, shoot, dude, we got to hit record. Uh, so yeah, I actually changed my Zoom settings to record the minute I start now because I'm notorious for forgetting to hit record.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Right. And like, I don't mind editing, like chopping the front off or chopping the back off. But like, so like I changed my setting to automatically record the minute I start the session, like with our kids and stuff.
yeah.
So, but yeah, because I'm like, we'll get like one time we were like 45 minutes in, we are like 12 minutes from being done. We're like, hey coach, you recorded this, right? I'm like, yeah,
That's what Bannister told me. He was like, I think I told him I was like, "Yeah, I think Coach Gardner's coming on." He goes, "Yeah, I talked to him for like 50 minutes one time." Like, "Oh, now we got to do it," and then we just did that too.
yeah, it's good though. Man, you guys. I like what you guys do. I wish I had the consistency to do it like you guys do. Um, because I think it's great. It's fun to get on here and talk like 30%, 20% football, and then all the other stuff that goes along with it. I think that the community bonds, right? Like we have enough stress, we have the parents, we have winning, we have losing, we have all that stuff that comes up, and to be able to connect with guys and do that, like the fraternity part of it is probably as important
Yeah,
as anything.
right. Well, I appreciate you coming back on, uh,
Yeah,
even
glad to
after.
come on. Yeah, I'm good, man. I caught up a little bit, had to get the dry blood out of my mouth. We're good to go.
Well, I appreciate it. I hope you guys win all your games in the fall. That's what I hope.
I'll just take the week 14 one, man. Like I got to get over the hump.
Yeah, that's true.
I
I hope
just got
you
to. I'm
beat
I'm sick
14.
of being the. I'm just sick of being the bridesmaid, man. I need to do it. I have reasons, internal reasons. I carry the ghost of every kid I've ever coached. It's just such a validation piece for what I've done over my years.
Yeah,
Like, because let's be real, my kids that went 1-10 in Missouri in 2014, that fall, they did everything I asked them to do.
right,
They just didn't have enough talent to win games. They're no different than what I do with these kids.
right,
And so, like, if and when I get one, we all get one.
right,
Like my passion, like, how do I not get burnt out? Well, I'm still fighting for 14 years of kids to get a title
right.
because it's just as important for me to validate the stuff we did for them.
Hmm.
Like, I'm no different than the guy that went 4-5, 3-6 at Riverton, 1-10, right? Like, I'm not a different human being. I don't love my kids more. I'm not magically different. I've just been afforded to have some more talent.
Hmm.
And so when Coach Gardner wins one, the 2008 Ripton Hawks won one. And so for me, like, yeah, it'd be great to go 14-0. I've been 13-1. I haven't been 14-0, but I just want to get over that. Plus, there's some people in my life that are going through some things that I would love to be able to do for them. That stuff they've done for me. Like, I've been pretty open about when I win the title, I'm not keeping that ring.
Hmm.
That ring is going to go to people that have impacted my life in a way. And especially like my high school coach is going through some stuff, and nothing would mean more to me than to send him a championship ring this fall.
Hmm.
I'm fighting it back right now. Like that man means a lot to me. And I lost my dad young, and I had like 3 or 4 dads and 3 or 4 coaches that saved me and kept me on the right path. And there, if I'm lucky enough to get one, that guy's gonna know what he
Mhm.
did for me as a human, not much a football player. Like I'll tell you right now, he's not a great football coach. Top 5 human ever.
Mhm.
So if I can get one, that I want to make sure I want to give him something tangible. I can tell him, he knows how I feel about him, you know, but to give him something tangible like that, and especially coming from the program I came from, where we won 4 games, or excuse me, we won 5 games in my 4 years of high school. For
Mhm.
a kid to come from that kind of a program to get to where I'm at, where now we're ranked, preseason we're ranked inside 50 nationally, and then have a chance to play for titles. Like from a fat kid from Riverton to do that, that's what it's about. Like I said, it's a burden, but that's the fire I have, because I'm trying to get every kid I've ever coached a title. Because when I get it, they get it. Like I said, they give me 4 years, I give them the rest of my life, and,
Right.
and that's really the goal. So I
Right.
appreciate you having me on, man. Sorry to get sentimental at the end, but I love
Nope.
my guy, and he's going through it. So
Yep. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
mhm.
Win week 14.
Yes, sir. That's the